In this video, we're going to look into two different vision models. One is Phi-3.5 Vision and Qwen 2 Vision Language Model. Now these two just came out a few days ago, and I want to go through how they are, how they work in architectural sense, and also how you can use them. By the way, if you guys are interested on fine-tuning these models, make sure you guys subscribe. I will most likely going to upload a video about it. Now, let's go to the Qwen 2 Vision Language Model features. Now, I know there's a lot of text on the screen over here, but let's go through the blog post that they posted. So this is the blog post that they posted, and they've given some really interesting findings. So first of all, they talked about the performance, so various performances on mathematical reasoning, document diagram reading, general vision question answering, and many others. And as you can see, on paper, they are outperforming GPT-4, Claude 3.5 Sonnet, and other models in majority of the benchmarks, which is extremely interesting considering this is an open source model that you can use right now. So very, very great stuff by the Alibaba research group. Now what is interesting is they've given some examples of different enhanced recognition capabilities. So for example, they have this image over here and try to find out the different elements in the picture and try to answer about it. So that's one of the features that they talked about. Second is visual reasoning, solving real world problems. So they just passed in a picture of questions from a web page and it starts to answer in code, which is amazing. Also does really good video understanding. You can just ask questions about a video, which is like 2 to 3 minutes, I believe even more. And it can just start answering about various elements inside of the video. You can also do live chat, something that the Gemini people initially talked about, where you can just have a live video chat with the model. They can start answering you. Also function calling. Function calling is nothing new, of course, but it is also available. UI interactions, which is very interesting. Now, let's talk about the model architecture. Now, the model that they've talked about is using vision transformers. So the original vision transformers, and they modified it to be understanding vision transformers to use height, width, and many other elements to understand and comprehend the videos or images better. And they've also used multimodal rotary position embedding. I believe rotary embeddings is used quite often with the newer models like Llama 3.1s and many others. So it's interesting to see that they're getting on the trend. And also native dynamic resolution support, which means they can support various sizes of images and videos regardless of their native resolution. Now the Qwen 2 VL is released in 3 different variants. You have the 2 billion version, 7 billion, and 72 billion parameter model. And I believe most of the benchmark that they provided is from the 72 billion. And it uses a vision transformer architecture that can process both image and video. And of course, native dynamic resolution support and multimodal rotary position embedding, which are the 2 new additions inside of the architecture. Now, let's go into the Phi-3.5 Vision. So Phi-3.5 Vision is a new language model or small language model that is 4.2 billion parameters. It can do visual processing, including videos, and can do both text and image. However, they haven't really talked about the multilingual capabilities of the model. Now, this is interesting because most of the Phi-3.5 Mini and mixture of experts actually, or their main feature is the multilingual support. On the Vision, on the other hand, haven't really found any traces about multilingual capabilities. Now, when it comes to the architecture, I haven't really found much information except for their description of it. So let's see, they've said that they have an image encoder, connectors, projectors, and a Phi-3 Mini language model that processes both text and encoded image data. And there's integrations of both text and image inputs. So you can do both OCR, visual reasoning, diagram comprehension, and many others. Now let's see how we can actually use them. So over here, I have a Google Colab notebook. To use them, you have to uninstall transformers and install the transformers from the GitHub repository. That is because the latest transformers that is deployed on Phi-3 doesn't really have the additional packages that you need to use Qwen Visual Language Model. So you have to install it over here, pip install Qwen VL utils, and you can import the model like this. It's a pretty standard code. They actually were nice enough to provide it for you. Now, one interesting thing that I found was that you're not able to use Qwen 2 7 billion with an A100 GPU, which is quite insane when you think about it, because you're supposed to be able to use a 7 billion parameter model in an A100 GPU. That should be quite sufficient. But a 2 billion was already quite heavy for this specific GPU. But nevertheless, you're able to use it with an auto processor. You pass in the message just like you would any modern LLM, prepare the text, input, put the input to the GPU, and then you pass it on to the model to get some output. It's a pretty standard stuff over here. Phi-3.5 Vision, very, very similar idea. install the packages, you load the model, the processor, pass in the images, and then you start generating. I've actually had troubles using this specific code, which they provided, by the way, because of some package not being able to use or install properly. So you may want to wait out a little bit before you guys start using Phi-3.5 Vision. Alright guys, that's a quick video on 2 new vision language models and how to use them. Again, as I mentioned, I'll be making a fine-tuning video for each of them quite soon, so please feel free to subscribe. Alright guys, I hope to see you in my next video. Have a nice day.